Okay? Okay, great. Everybody, can everybody see the board up here, the presentation? Okay? We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Tyler Wilhelm. I'm a project developer for Next Era Energy's renewable development team and the project developer of the Crown Ridge 2 project in Deuel County, South Dakota. Up on the board, you'll see some discussion topics for tonight. We'll start off with who we are as a company, our regional development overview, so what we're doing in eastern South Dakota, outside of Deuel County as well. Then we'll jump into more of the project specifics of Crown Ridge 2, which is the subject of tonight's review in Deuel County. We'll discuss project timeline moving forward, some of the community benefits tied to the project, and some conclusions. So first off being our three main values we have at Next Era Energy. First off being our commitment to excellence. That picture you see there is a gentleman in our FPDC building. It's one of its kind within the industry. In that building, we're actually able to monitor every single one of our operating assets across our entire fleet in the US. So every single operating turbine, we're able to monitor on a second-by-second basis, stay ahead of potential issues that could occur, and minimize bringing a crane out to, which is, ultimately we want to avoid at all costs, is bringing a crane out to fix one of the machines if need be. Second one being do the right thing. I think that speaks for itself. And the last one, treat people with respect. We know that we are the outsiders coming in here. We came in 2006. I think that over the past over 10 years now, we've inserted ourselves into the community, been able to work with a lot of the folks in eastern South Dakota, and we know how important the landowners in the community is to these projects. So Next Era Energy is an energy infrastructure company. You'll see the breakdown up here. So you have the parent company being Next Era Energy. FPL is our in-state utility, Florida Power and Light. In 2017, they were the #1 most admired public utility in the nation. And then you have us, Next Era Energy Resources, the #1 developer of wind and solar in the world in 2017. So we are an American-owned and operated company. We have investments in 32 states and Canada. It may be hard for folks to see the scatter of dots across the states there, but there is 3 dots existing in the state of South Dakota. We do have 3 operational wind farms, and I believe we're at 130 total wind farms at this point in the US. And as mentioned earlier, we are the renewable energy leader in the world. In 2017 and in 2016 as well, we were honored that accolade. Okay, so into our regional development. So we started our development out here in 2006, so over 10 years ago. At that time, we were able to deploy our MET instruments, gather wind data, and then start our initial conversations and outreach with landowners in the area. Having a valid wind resource and landowner support is two very key checkboxes to have when diligencing a wind farm. In 2012, that was big for opportunities here in eastern South Dakota. There was a improvement project made to the regional transmission infrastructure. 2 of those being the CapEx Big Stone to Brookings 345 kV line, and also the Big Stone to Ellendale line, which allowed for more generation in this part of the state and having ample transmission to carry that energy as needed. In 2017, Next Era Energy Resources and Xcel Energy entered into long-term power purchase agreements for 2 300 megawatt projects, one of those being named Crown Ridge and the other Crown Ridge 2. The proposed projects do have a commercial operations date of December 2019, and we're now going through the permitting process. So here's a look at our regional footprint. These are just project boundaries. You can see where the two projects align there in the middle. We have Crown Ridge, which is located in Cottington and Grant County, South Dakota. And then Crown Ridge 2, which is in Cottington, Deuel, and the small part located in Grant. Across the entire footprint, the 600 megawatt output will have 266 GE turbines. 238 of those turbines will be GE 2.3 megawatt machines. Those have a total tip height of 485 feet. We'll have 15 GE 2.1 megawatt machines, total tip height of 452 feet, and then 13 GE 1.7 megawatt machines with a total tip height of 432 feet. At the bottom there, you can see the disbursement of turbines within each county as currently proposed. Grant County, 61 turbines proposed at this time. Cottington County, 164. And Deuel County, 68 turbines.
Tyler, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Why is it two different projects, Crown Ridge and Crown Ridge 2?
It was the two projects are the way that they were structured and marketed to the energy customer who is receiving the power from the site. We will operate, the divider line separates who is actually operating the site long term. So on Crown Ridge, Next Era Energy Resources will develop, own and operate that site. And then on Crown Ridge 2, Next Era Energy Resources is responsible for developing it, but Excel Energy will own and operate that site.
Excel will?
Yes, sir.
And where are they from? Out of Minneapolis?
Yes, sir. Well, it's one of the headquarters in the Midwest territory.
And why is that? Why did you split them? I mean, why is Excel gonna operate Crown Ridge 2 and you guys Crown Ridge?
Sure. When you market your projects to potential off-takers, one of the things that utilities, in particular Excel, may be interested in doing is owning and operating their own site. They're a big utility. They have a big footprint within the wind industry. They've been around it for a while, and it's solely at their discretion to operate their portion of the site by which they're owning. So here's the project boundary within Deuel County. It's approximately 29,000 acres is located within that footprint there. For participating acreage, that's a breakdown of the active wind agreements. That accounts for approximately 19,100 acres. And as mentioned earlier, 68 turbines, which will account for roughly 153 megawatts. The breakdown in Deuel County will be 54 GE 2.3 megawatt turbines and 14 GE 2.1 megawatt turbines. So on the board here, you'll see the Deuel County ordinance as it stands today. It was not always this way, because some time ago we supported the Deuel County Planning and Zoning Board as they opened their doors to reconfiguring and restructuring their ordinance. We were in full support of that process, supported their recommendation, and ultimately worked forward to accommodate the final changes that came about with the county commissioners' ultimate adoption of what is in place today. So going through the list here, some of the more notable setbacks. The distance from existing non-participating residences shall not be less than 4 times the turbine height. As far as the siting criteria of Crown Ridge 2, we meet and or exceed that ordinance, and we apply the tallest turbine height that we have, being the GE 2.3 megawatt turbine as the buffer from receptors in the area. Distance from existing participating residences shall not be less than 1,500 feet. We meet or exceed that, plus any additional distance needed to accommodate for noise and shadow flicker thresholds. There was distances implemented and that need to be maintained from some of the lake park districts. Most notably for the Crown Ridge 2 footprint is Bullhead Lake. We're well outside the 1 mile setback from Bullhead Lake, Lake Park District. The distance from the town of Goodwin was 1 mile. We meet or exceed that as well. As well as for the noise level of 45 dBA and the shadow flicker of 30 hours annually. Here's a look at the project timeline moving forward. As mentioned, we deployed our MET instruments in 2006. Now have over 10 years of wind data. We have been pursuing land and active wind leases across our regional footprint since 2006 as well. We have pretty much put that process to an end, just final tuning up on some of the pieces of our projects in the regional area. Permitting will go through 2018 and 2019. Construction will begin in 2019, and then begin operations will be the start of 2020. Benefits tied to the regional development in the area. It's a $1 billion investment in the state of South Dakota. Roughly $90 million in property taxes will be generated from the operating sites. 400 temporary construction jobs during the construction process, and 7 to 12 full-time local jobs will be created for the 2 sites. During that time when the construction process is underway, adding 400 additional workers, it will increase local business in the area. These folks will need places to conduct business, eat, sleep, get fuel, and the construction process will last roughly 6 to 9 months. Road improvements, as all of you know, these turbines are big pieces of equipment. They do require a lot of logistics and planning, and one of the benefits of hauling all this stuff in is that we need to ensure that the road system in the area is suitable. Oftentimes we'll need to revamp roads, and then any impacts that happen during the mobilization and delivery of infrastructure, we will fix those roads, which often ends up in new roads in the area. Local supportive organizations, groups, and events. We are the exclusive sponsor of the Extreme Bowls Night at the Crystal Springs Rodeo. We've been part of the rodeo now, I believe, for 3 consecutive years. We're also teaming up with the South Dakota State University Wind Application Center, working hand in hand with them. And then a benefit as well is the relationship between NextEra and Excel and operating these sites. You have NextEra, the leader in the industry, who has the biggest fleet in the U.S. It's also a developer who owns and operates the majority of their sites, and Excel Energy being a well-known public utility who has experience in the operations and maintenance side of things when it comes to operating a wind facility. Landowner benefits, roughly $98 million in landowner payments once the project becomes operational. The structuring and layout of the wind farms is compatible with farming and ranching. Between the turbine pad and the access road leading up to the turbine, you're looking roughly an acre of impacts to the farming operations.
I have another question, Tyler. The 98 million, is that over how much time?
That's over the life of the project, which is roughly 30 years. Again, improvements to roads for individual landowners where access roads will be present. Oftentimes we're able to work with the landowners and site those roads in a manner that is suitable with the current operations. It's clean, homegrown, affordable energy. We have several operations in the area. Why not harvest wind? So some conclusions. The Crown Ridge 2 Energy project meets or exceeds Deuel County ordinance. Our project team supports the staff's recommendations and conditions as outlined in the staff report. Project team will continue to work openly with Deuel County as we finalize our site plan and the final layout of our projects in eastern South Dakota. And Crown Ridge 2 respectfully requests the Board of Adjustments approval of the Crown Ridge 2 special exception permit as outlined in the staff report. Thank you.
I guess the question was brought up about one of the board members. Is the lighting that you have on top of the wind towers, is that just going to be the continual flashing at night? Or is there a chance that it could be brought into consistency with that radar protection? Have you guys gone through any of that study?
So as the siting ordinance in Deuel County spells out, we are going to fit the turbines with the as required by the FAA.
So you haven't any, would it be possible or considered if we, to have it so it's radar detected? Is that a feasible thing for wind energy, or how does that work?
It's something that we will consider. Ultimately, some of the technologies are not fully approved by the FAA. The ADLS system is an approved technology by the FAA. However, it's approved on a site-by-site basis, and that's something that we would need to ultimately apply for to get approval from the FAA to install such technology.
So even if you decided you wanted to try that, FAA still has to approve your application for the radar detection stuff?
That's correct.
They got the final say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. One of the board members was saying we can put that in our final approval for the project, that you do try to get the radar detection. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. But then if we do put that in there, then it's still up to FFA to decide whether or not they're going to approve it for you. Is what I'm understanding.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, one of the conditions may be that we applied for the ADLS technology. No, that's understood. Yes, sir. And ultimately, yes, the FAA would need to make a ruling as to whether that could be approved for this site in particular.
Okay. Thank you. Any of you other guys got some questions you want to ask? Well, then I think I'm going to open it up to the public here to come and talk to the board. I don't know if you guys want to stay sitting where you are, or if you want to go sit there, that's fine, whatever. Got any other comments you want to make before I turn it open? Okay, as you come up here, and you state your name and where you're from, please. Christy Mogan.
No.